Welcome back to Market Headlines. Bank of Indonesia survey in June 2020 indicates an improvement in consumer confidence in economic conditions. This can be seen from the index positions at the level of 83.8, higher than the previous month.
Bank of Indonesia's latest survey in June 2020 indicates an improvement in consumer confidence in economic conditions. Bank of Indonesia's head of communication department, Oni Wijanarko, revealed that the consumer confidence index in June was 83.8, or increased from 77.8 in May 2020. Consumer confidence was monitored to improve in all categories of respondents. The increase in consumer optimism was mainly due to stronger consumer expectations for the forecast economic condition in the next 6 months, in line with the expected easing of the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Strengthening on the expectation side was also bolstered mainly by forecasts of expansion in business activity that increased in the next 6 months. However, the central bank stated that consumers' perception of current economic condition were monitored to be still low, mainly due to a decrease in consumer optimism about buying durable goods. From all sources, IDX Channel.
There are ways to analyze current economic conditions, and for instance, from consumer perspective. Every month, Central Bank or Bank of Indonesia conducts monthly survey from society, obtain information concerning consumer confidence over current economic conditions. But since we are in the midst of pandemic, the index shows lower positions from the previous year. To see the comparisons, let's see it through the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the consumer confidence index by the indicators of the second quarter. So in the second quarter of 2019, the level is in the 127.6, while in 2020, exact on the second quarter, the number went down to be 82.1. We can see that the Bank of Indonesia gathered this from the consumer index for these latest data. And these conditions also weakened optimism about the forecast of economic conditions in the next 6 months. Decline in number has related to the national public health emergency in Indonesia caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And the strong reason goes for the lockdown situations that restrict social activities that was started by early March. As a heavy decline firstly happened in March, so let's see the consumer confidence index in 2020 starting from March to the latest data provided. Here it is. We can see in 2020 consumer confidence index, still from Bank Indonesia released. By the March, the index was still above 100. To be exact, it's 113.8. And then in April, the number went down significantly to be only 84.8. And then in the May, the number even lower, be at 77.8, and then in June we can see the rebound from April, which is the exact number is at 83.8. And the level of consumer confidence in economic conditions improved, although it still moves in pessimistic zone, which is under 100. An executive director of Department of Communications, Oni Wijanarko, said that the index increase in June 2020 was supported by improving consumer expectations for economic conditions in the next 6 months. And therefore, in the next graphic, I would like to show you the latest data in regards consumer expectations index. So let's see through the next graphic. So here it is. We can see by May, the index goes for 104.9. And then approaching to June, the number went higher to be 121.8. And we gathered data from Bank Indonesia's latest data about consumer expectations index. And the increase in expectations of economic conditions is supported by increase in all constituent components, particularly the business activity expectations index and the income expectations index in the next 6 months. And speaking of business activity expectations, Bank Indonesia also noted cities with the highest business activity expectations index. The highest index, the more optimistic people in the city to gain profit from the city they live in. And the parameters used are overall business situations such as productions, raw material, inventory, finished goods inventory, capacity utilizations, and others. So what are the cities? As we may curious about that, so let's see through the next graphic. Here it is, we can see the data that we gather from Bank Indonesia regarding the cities with the highest business activity expectations index in June 2020. So based on the latest data, we can see that Jakarta, Mataram, and Bandung are the city with the highest business activity expectations. Jakarta with the points of 29.7 and Mataram with the points of 30.4 and Bandung with 29.3 points. And meanwhile, consumer perceptions of current economic conditions remain in the pessimistic zone, a weakened from the previous month, in line with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the national economic conditions. This is reflected in June 2020 Financial Conditions Index that was lower in May 2020. Let's see the data in the next graphic, shall we? Here it is. Through the next graphic, we can see the Financial Conditions Index. In May, the index was on the level of 50.7, but however, in June, it dropped to be 45.8 only. And the decline in business confidence as reflected by 2020 Financial Conditions Index indicates that business activity has not taken off and demand continues to remain weak. On the other hand, consumer optimism about the current income compared to the previous month also weakened. The real reason is that large social restrictions which were still imposed in the several areas last month. And these restrictions have an impact on the decline in routine income and business turnover. And we hope nothing but the best for Indonesia's economy, and the index will get better in the upcoming months. And stay tuned on market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break.